While grilling steaks for my wife's entire family, the call came just after dawn. My phone lit up like it was on fire. 50 missed calls, a string of desperate messages, her name stacked on the screen like a warning. I didn't answer, not yet, because 3 days earlier, while smoke curled from the grill and the weight of her entire family's eyes pressed into my back, I had walked into the kitchen for a bottle of sauce and overheard the sentence that would strip the marrow out of my bones. "He's a good cook, but this man is a deadweight. You need to leave him before he drags us all down." Her father's voice, calm, authoritative, like a verdict already sealed. Her reply sliced sharper than the steak knife I'd been holding only minutes before. "Don't worry, Dad, the lawyer is filing Monday. He says we can take half of his company, too." My hand tightened on the cold glass of the sauce bottle. I felt the tremor of betrayal crawl under my skin, but I didn't move, didn't breathe. Then I walked back out to the patio, a smile carved into my face like a mask, and served the steaks. The rest of that night passed in a haze. Their laughter scraped at my skull like broken glass. My wife's hand brushed mine as if nothing had been said, as if my future wasn't already carved up like the meat on their plates. I ate slowly, chewing bitterness disguised as medium rare. Every word she spoke afterward was poison wrapped in sugar. Every smile, every glance, it was all theater. And I sat there, applauding silently, as the curtains closed on the life I thought I had built. Later, in the bedroom, she curled against me. Her warmth pressed into my chest. I lay awake with my eyes open, staring at the ceiling, imagining the ink drying on papers that would gut me. The betrayal wasn't just hers. It was orchestrated, sanctioned by blood ties. They had sat there, enjoying the food I cooked, while plotting how to carve me open and take everything. I wanted to scream, to tear the truth into the open. But rage, I knew, was useless noise, so I smiled, and I planned. The following days were surgical. I left for work at my usual time, kissed her cheek as though I hadn't heard a word. She smiled, eyes soft, rehearsed. But behind that mask, I saw the calculation now. Every "I love you" a line in her script, every kiss a weapon. I began digging, quietly. Her phone left unattended on the counter, just long enough for me to photograph the names, the threads, the emails. Words like division of assets, joint filing, equitable distribution. All drafted by the lawyer her father recommended. The more I read, the colder I became. At work, I pulled records, my company's ownership, my private accounts, my holdings. I checked what could be touched, what could be hidden. The numbers weren't just mine, they were my lifeline. She wanted half. Her father wanted blood. So I moved silently, transferring assets, creating barriers, the kind of measures no lawyer could breach without years of litigation. At night, I cooked dinner for us. She smiled, she laughed, she touched my hand across the table. And I stared at her, wondering how long she had rehearsed this role, how long she had been whispering in her father's ear, waiting for the stage lights to rise. 3 days passed like that. Me, the actor, her, the predator. And then the evidence arrived. An email, hidden in a folder she thought I would never see. The contract, the draft petition, the division of assets clearly outlined. My name reduced to columns, percentages, signatures waiting to be inked. There was no question left, no doubt. She wasn't hesitating, she wasn't conflicted. She was ready to strip me to the bone. That night, I slid the printed papers across the dining table, between her glass of wine and her untouched plate. She froze. Her eyes darted to mine. Her lips parted, searching for air, for lies, for explanations that would never come. I didn't speak. I didn't have to. The silence did more damage than words ever could. Her hand shook as she reached for the papers. I can explain," she whispered, but her voice cracked on the second word. I leaned back, watching her crumble, watching the perfect performance disintegrate under the weight of exposure. "I already moved everything," I said, finally, my tone flat, clinical. "By the time your lawyer files, there'll be nothing to take." Her face collapsed, a mix of shock and terror, the mask slipping into raw panic. You knew?" "I heard you," I replied. "Every word. While I was in the kitchen. 3 days ago." Her breath hitched. She looked smaller suddenly, like a child caught stealing. Her father's plan, her lawyer's promises, it had all hinged on my ignorance. But I hadn't screamed. I hadn't begged. I had smiled, grilled the steaks, and quietly dismantled the trap from within. Now she was the one drowning. This morning her calls started, dozens of them, desperate, pleading, then angry. I let them ring. Each vibration another nail in the coffin of what once passed for love. There was no fury left in me, no grief, only clarity. They wanted to break me. Instead, they exposed themselves. As I stared at the silence between rings, I realized something simple, something brutal. Love had been the illusion. Control was the truth. I closed my phone, set it face down, and walked away from the life they had tried to script for me. I wouldn't be their meal, not again. And the last steak I ever cooked for them was the one they choked on themselves.